Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk to you about my top 10 ways to overcome fear of labor. So let's face it, from the beginning of your life, basically, you've heard women say that labor is the most painful experience they will ever go through. So I think from like day one as a woman, that is ingrained in our minds that labor is the worst pain, the hardest thing, it's hell on earth. And of course, any woman, when they hear that, is going to be fearful. Labor is going to be a scary thing because we've been taught from the beginning that it is scary. But it doesn't have to be scary. And that's what I've learned through my pregnancy journey. And I've kind of learned some ways to cope with that. And you know, my husband and I always talk about someone who, let's say I'm talking to a man who has been in war, and he had his leg blown off in war. And I say the dumbest thing to him, I say, oh, well, that's nothing compared to labor. Okay, no one would probably actually say that to a war vet, but we do say stuff like that to people when they describe the pain that they've gone through. And I think women especially do this to men. And to be honest, how the heck do we even know what it feels like to have our leg blown off? How do we know what it feels like to be stabbed? We don't. How can we compare something that we don't know what it feels like to labor? We just, unless you've actually been in a comparable event, like, hey, I had gallstones and that was very comparable to labor. Okay, cool. That was comparable to labor. But if you haven't had anything that you can compare it to, just be quiet. Sorry, but it's just not helpful. And I think we need to break that generational curse, so to speak, in making women afraid of labor. And one thing I do want to say is that what helps me personally is that the only way that a person can come into the world is through labor. Think about how many people are in the world. So if women before me could go through labor, even Mary, the mother of Jesus, had to birth Jesus. So, you know, not one human being who ever walked the face of this earth, as much as we like our sci-fi movies and our crazy movies, they have come out of a woman's, And so it happens. And if they can do it, we can do it. Many women have gone before us. So that's one way. I'm just smashing fear right off the bat. Another way is that God says, do not fear. It's just that simple. He says, don't do it. So we don't do it. I struggled with anxiety. I still do. Anxiety is like the number one thing that I struggle with. And one day I just was like crying before the Lord. And I was like, Lord, I cannot get over this anxiety. And how do I do this? Help me. How do I get over this? And you know what he says? You just do. Just do it. Thanks, Lord. That's really helpful. That's really good advice. Okay. But he's right. He's always right. It's just that simple. I just had to think of anxiety for what it was. It's sin. So if anxiety is sin and I want to please God, I don't want to do anything that's going to hurt him. I don't want to sin against him. So I'm going to give it to him, and it's just easy. Okay, Lord, you say don't fear. I'm not going to do it. And I need your help not to do it, because in and of myself, I am fearful. So he wants to give you that help. He wants to bring you that peace. Number 2 is to prepare your mind for labor. From the day I found out I was pregnant, I researched. I didn't know a thing about labor, a thing about pregnancy, but I wanted to know, because I'm prone to be more fearful if I have no idea what the heck is going on with my body. For example, if I lose my mucus plug, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? What is this? But I knew what it was because I researched before it happened. And I knew, oh, this is a normal part towards the end of your pregnancy. You're going to lose this. And it's not something to be freaked out about. It's not like a massive booger coming out of your body. It's just normal. Anyways, sorry, TMI, but I really don't care. So yeah, prepare your mind. Also, watch videos and listen to encouraging testimonies of women who have gone before you. And I say encouraging testimonies because there are a lot of women out there who want to discourage you, who want to tell you their labor horror stories. One thing that was so helpful to me was our childbirth class, and I really encourage you women, if you're just starting out on your journey, it's called A Heavenly Welcome. You can find it at aheavenlywelcome.com. It's very, very affordable, and what James and I loved about it is that you could do it in your home. We didn't even have to go to a birthing class. We could just sit and watch her videos and be encouraged at home. You're also, when you join the class, you join a Facebook page. And women just on that Facebook page, we share our fears, our struggles. We ask each other to pray for each other. So it was a really good support group. I honestly don't know what I would have done if I wouldn't have taken that class. So yes, I highly encourage her childbirth class. And I also encourage you to check out a lady, her name's Mama Natural. And you can find her at www.mamanatural.com. And she has so many tips on labor, on pregnancy, and it's been so encouraging to just have all these free resources. So I'm so thankful to her and just what she's provided. Another thing that has been helpful for me is the book Supernatural Childbirth. I will say right off the get-go that I don't agree with everything theologically that she says. I think that you most certainly can have a pain-free labor, but I don't agree with the fact that because we're free from the curse as Christians, that we're free from pain. Jesus himself experienced pain on the cross, and in fact, he suffered the most, which I'll talk about in one of my other tips. But let's move on. So, number 4 is to think about the joy that's coming. It really helps me when I think that I get a gift out of the pain. The pain is for a moment, but the joy is for a lifetime. And there's a verse that says that. And so I hold on to that verse. Pain is for a moment, but joy is for a lifetime. And I just think about how I get a baby out of it. And I'm not going to be in labor forever, although I'm sure when I'm going through it, it will seem like it's never ending. But I get a baby, you guys. That's so exciting. And like I was talking about, you can think about Christ, who went before us, who suffered on the cross for us. And we're called to be like Christ, which means we get to share and partake in his sufferings. And I do believe that we can also, don't get me wrong, I believe that we can have a pain-free labor if that's God's will for us, but it's not his will for everyone. I think there's very special circumstances where he blesses women with that, and that would be awesome. Like, Lord, please, I pray for a pain-free labor, but if it doesn't happen as Christians, we have to know that doesn't mean he doesn't love us. That means we get the joy of partaking in his suffering, and he will get us through it, and he is so much greater than this minute suffering, and so he wants to help us through that time. My 5th tip is to not talk to women that will bring you down. So if you have a friend or a family member who is constantly putting fear in your heart and your mind, who's bringing you down about your labor plan, just don't talk to them about it anymore. I've had to do that with people. Okay, I know that this person had a really bad experience, but just because they had a bad experience does not mean you have to have a bad experience in labor. So just try to avoid those people. Fill your heart and your mind and your fellowship up with people who are going to encourage you in your labor journey. Number 7, get tired of being pregnant. I think God has naturally just made us as women, the last 2 weeks of pregnancy, he's just made us so it's so uncomfortable that I just want this baby out. Just get him out, get so tired of being pregnant that it doesn't even matter. The pain of labor doesn't matter because this pain of pregnancy sucks. Just get him out. So that's been really helping me. Number 8, meditate on scripture as much as possible, not as much on TV and media and entertainment. I had a friend tell me to meditate on scripture during these times because that is going to be the most helpful for me when I do go into labor. So I've been really trying to watch less TV and read more scripture. Obviously, though, you know, we're human. I'm not going to be reading my Bible 24/7. Let's just get serious. I live a normal life. I like TV. I'm going to be reading my Bible and watching TV. I'm just trying not to watch as much TV as possible. So number 9, prepare your body to birth your baby beforehand. So I did things like I drank red raspberry leaf tea, which you can find plenty of studies on that. I encourage you to talk to your doctor, obviously, before you drink it. I talked to mine. That just helps soften the cervix and prepare the cervix. I started late in my second trimester doing that. So also, I've been doing exercises to open up my hips, and there are exercises on mamanatural.com. She has a whole video on exercises you can do to bring your baby down. So finally, number 10 is to trust in God's plan for your labor. I think it is a fearful thing when you don't think things are going to go as you want them to, or when they don't turn out how you want them to. So just to trust him. And for me personally, I've told a lot of people that, I want to do a natural birth, and I'm such a people pleaser that I think that it would be really tempting for me to just do it because, you know, I've told people I'm going to, and I've just come to accept the fact that things go wrong in labor, and my plan isn't always God's plan. And the most important thing is that I have a healthy baby and that I'm healthy. And if that means epidural, if that means induction, if that means C-section, whatever that means, and whatever God has planned for me, that's what I need to go with. And that's what matters, guys. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions to me, feel free to reach out. Obviously, I haven't gone through labor yet, so I don't know how helpful all of these tips will be when I'm in the midst of it, but I'm hoping I can really, really start applying these during my last few days. So thanks so much, guys. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe below. We'll talk to you later. Bye.